All right, welcome back to another edition of Nerd Enthusiast Poker Podcast. We have a little special edition for you today that we're going to get into. But before we do, make sure you check out our sponsor, The Slot Squad, twitch.tv/The Slot Squad. Make sure you go there and follow them. Exclusive #1 place for all the sign-up bonuses in the United States for all the legal casinos. You can go check us out there. We stream every night, but we have giveaways and all kinds of bonuses as well. And you can also sign up for sports betting sites there as well. So if you're not a casino guy or a poker guy, you can go check out the sports betting stuff. So theslotsquad.com. Go check it out. Make sure you also check out all our social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, literally everything. And then we also have a Patreon, which has exclusive content that you can subscribe to and get free videos, bonus polls, everything. You guys get to choose some of the stuff that we talk about. And we have all the other stuff on there too, like video games, poker, besides poker. We got wrestling, movies, music, literally everything on there. We're a whole brand. So go there and check it out. So then we're going to flash forward a little bit too. So a couple months later, you head out to Vegas. And I honestly remember sweating this.
Yeah.
I remember we might have actually just been out there, or we got out there right after you scored, because we were out there in that time frame. And I remember sweating the action, at least online, like watching, because I saw you were running deep. It was a $2,500 WSOP event 43. This was June of 2018 at the World Series of Poker. And I remember you making the final table, and I was like, oh, shit, man, he's about to do this. And I know a lot of people were rooting for you. You end up with a huge score, the biggest score of your life, I think, still to this day, right? That's the biggest one?
Yeah, that's the biggest one.
So he scored $223,564, $250,000, you know what I mean? No big deal.
Sick.
And that was just coming off of, like you just scored $181,000. So, I mean, like, that's like a $400,000 swing in 6 months.
Wow.
Like all right, let's talk about the final table. Let's talk about that a little bit real quick. So how did that play out, like going into there?
Played out, I don't know, pretty normally compared to final tables as far as final tables go, I guess. Chris Ferguson was at the final table.
I do remember that. Yes.
Yep. So that was like one of the highlights. I was like, wow, I actually get to play like with Chris Ferguson. And then of course, there was the whole like,
that was his comeback year too, wasn't it?
It was either that or one of them, yeah. And so then, of course, there was that whole thing, people talking about Ferguson. And, like, whatever, he did what he did. I'm not going to get into that. But playing with him, I mean, and in person, he was actually a super nice guy. I have to say, like, he was really, like, one of those, like good presences to have at the table. Very friendly, very professional, classy guy. And, there was actually we broke for the final table, like for the live stream, I think with 6 left. And I was like somewhere in the middle of the pack. And on one of the first hands of the next day on the stage, I actually doubled up through Ferguson. I think I like flatted aces on the button when he opened the cutoff off like just under 30 bigs. And there was also like a short stack in the big blind. Oh, Ryan LaPlante was at that table. Played with him a couple times. And, flop came, I want to say came queen 10 something. And he ended up having jack 9 for an open-ender. And then, like, we just got it in on the flop. He, like, c-bet small, I raised, and he jammed. I was like, here we go. And just, like, holding in that spot and doubling through Ferguson was, like, when I really felt it. That was actually, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool.
That's a defining moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a couple of my friends on the rail. They were texting updates and stuff to people at home, so.
It's got to bring you back to, like, when you first got into it. Like, the Moneymaker effect. He was a big name then, kind of in
exactly,
poker.
Yeah,
like,
it's
like
for sure. Like, that was when we started playing in that home game with our our buckets of change.
Yeah.
Like Chris Jesus Ferguson was one of the guys that we were all watching. It was like, yo, that guy. Like,
dude, I couldn't even imagine.
And I was like, wow, I'm actually playing with him. Like all my friends from the home game were texting me about it. It's crazy. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So, okay, I mean, it's a lot of money, but and people don't understand this element when I try to explain it to them. So when you bust in third, were you upset about it? Were you like just hey, ecstatic? Like
I mean, not ecstatic when you're never happy when you bust.
exactly.
But,
That's what I was trying to say. Like people are like, dude, you just won $250,000. You're like, yeah, but
Exactly.
But-
I was so close.
yeah, I mean, I will say that was like, it wasn't a super painful third place as far as like the way the situation played out. Because after that double up versus Ferguson, I actually like went pretty cold for a while. And when we got shorter handed, like, it was good because I got to watch the stream and like talk to friends at home, and they were like, yeah, like you really had nothing you could do. Like the spots you were running into, you're just like really like way card dead compared to them. I mean, I tried to like 3-bet light out of the blinds a couple of times, and I just got piled on. And they were like, yeah, you just had it. Like, so I was one of the shorter stack. I think I was the short stack pretty clearly 3-handed for a while. So like in that situation, it wasn't like, I should have won it. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I lost like a standard all in, I think maybe like a 60-40 or something when I had like 10 or 12 bigs. And it was like, all right, like, you know, it wasn't like I felt like I botched an opportunity there. Or
Like
something.
you didn't
Like,
screw
yeah.
it up. It's just the way it
Yeah.
went. Yeah.
So we go from there, and then later in the year, the same year, you then come in 11th for the WPT Diamond World Poker Classic for another $130,000. So you got like over $500,000 like running in 2018. What'd you do with the money? Like, I mean, if you don't mind me asking, like, did you invest some of it, or were you just like, screw it, we'll just party? Like, what? Like,
Not really
And
party,
we'll get to
but
those questions at the end. Stop.
no, I mean, honestly, I just like put it towards the poker bankroll. Didn't really like go nuts with it or anything. I just kind of like, you know, grind it out. I do a lot of like sports betting stuff too, which has had its ups and downs. So, you know, I just kind of like, you know, I made some bigger bets, played some bigger tournaments. I mean, nothing too exciting. Like,
okay. Did you buy a house or a car or anything, or nothing?
No.
He said,
No.
nah, screw it. So then we go, you know, you're back on the grind. I'm looking through here. You got a couple of deep runs, and then we flash forward to like the pandemic. And I know I've already talked to you a little bit about it, but the pandemic, I guess, kind of forced you to go online. So if you guys are listening, you're not from around here, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Nevada, are legal states that you can actually play online, including like WSOP and Party Poker and a couple other ones, Poker Stars and things like that. So I know you were like, you played online before, but obviously you've always been, you know, a live grinder. So how did that affect you? Was it like really difficult at first? Like, man, this is like, you know, tough, or were you just flew right into it?
I mean, it was definitely a change. I've always, like you said, I've always preferred playing live. I never really played much online in general. But I have a good group of friends at home that are big online players in New Jersey. They kind of like, you know, convinced me like, yo, you really got to get online now, especially with live shutting down. I was like, all right, yeah, you're right. I gotta get into this. So I started playing mainly on WSOP because that seemed like where the bigger tournaments were and the bigger prize pools. I guess I was pretty fortunate with it because I was able to transition pretty nicely and had a lot of success on there over the pandemic. So yeah, it worked out nice. I mean, the one thing I'll say, like, I know when people play online, they're not a lot of them like multi-table, like 4+ tables at a time. That's one thing I still have not been able to do, and I just don't think it suits my personality. Like, if I'm playing more than 2 tables, I prefer actually a single table a lot. But you know, I'll play 2 when there's like 2 big tournaments that I want to play. Yeah, I feel like I need to focus on, like as if I'm playing a live tournament, like what people are doing. Like,
See, that's what
you
I'm
know,
doing
at
wrong.
each
I'm just
table.
playing 35 tables at a time
Yes.
here.
It's so funny you say that because like we don't have the success that you do, but I am very much similar to you where I'll come over here and he'll have like 8 tables up. I'm like, how do you even do this?
I just can't handle. I
Like,
just can't do that.
The focus is just not there. I'm like, I would much rather be on my phone playing one tournament at a time than multiple, because I just find myself like not giving the same amount of effort, I guess. Like, obviously I want to play the best that I play, but I just don't think that multi-tabling is the way to, like, I don't know, to success.
I kind of jumped over it here a little bit, but so I'm going to jump into this because I'll explain why in a minute. So you actually hit a live circuit event in Atlantic City back in 2019. You won that for like 10 Gs.
I did, yes.
Got your first ring. So did that feel special at all, or were you just kind of like, whatever?
I did feel special, yes.
Okay.
Because getting that ring was always something I wanted. Like, that hardware, they're whatever. Like, they're just like little tokens but they signify something. They signify an accomplishment. That's like when I got into poker in general. Like, I always wanted to I wanted the rings. I want to win a bracelet. Obviously, the trophies. Like, I don't know. I like that stuff. They're like things you can put on your resume and like things you can point to. Like, okay, yeah, I won this. And just being a competitive person in general. Like, I like that stuff. So winning that ring, winning. First of all, an outright win, regardless of the money. Like always something like feels good about that. And then the first ring was nice, but also that tournament, winning that tournament, ended up locking up casino champion for me for that stop.
That was at Harrah's Atlantic City.
Yeah, for that year. So I actually got a seat in the national championship that year in Cherokee in North Carolina.
Okay.
So I got to go down there for that.
So that's why I was kind of jumping in this. So since you've been on the online grind, you've actually won 2 more circuit rings, correct? Am I correct saying that? 3 total now?
Won 3 online and then one live, so 4 total. Yes.
4 total. Shit. Wow. So can we break? I know you brought some, right?
Yeah, I brought them with me. Yeah.
Can we break one out to show everyone? And we'll put it on here.
Sure, why not? I don't know which one this is, but it's the first one I grabbed.
Yeah, we'll just we'll display it here too. So.
Oh, thanks. You shouldn't have.
So there we go.
Wow, it's legit. Oh, this is your most recent one, 2021. Or no, you got one in 2022,
he's got
right?
2 in 22, right? You can't even keep track of that. He's collecting like candy.
I think 1 in 2022, I think, and then 2
last year.
2 more in 2021. Yeah.
Nice. So the reason I also want so it does say online circuit on there. It has it labeled there. Cool. I'll put it in the box. We'll put it right here so everyone can see it. You want to put it right there in the box, bro? So you can put it right there. So we actually, our last podcast, which is coming out soon, so people are hearing this, it's already going to be out. One of the things that we talked about in our podcast, we do different segments, and one of the things we thought was really cool is that they brought back the Tournament of Champions.
Right.
Are you planning on playing in that this year?
Yeah, I mean, I have a free seat in it now, so I have to,
Yeah, so if you guys don't know, check out our other video. We talk about the Tournament of Champions. We explain it more. You can go check that out on our YouTube page. But what me and Brian were saying is, I think what I really like about it is now it brings back the value of that token of winning something. Because
for sure.
I mean, and I've been a hater too on it. I don't have any bracelets. I don't have any rings. But I definitely been hating that, like, I'm like, dude, they're just watering it down. It's not, over the last 2 years, I'm like, they're watering it down. They're throwing it. But now I think this kind of brings substance back to it. I hope they do this every year because, one, it also not only does it give you a free roll for $1 million tournament, which is
pretty nice,
which is nice, but now it's like this is your buy-in to that event. It's like something for you to focus on and gives you reason to chase these rings and chase these bracelets.
For sure, yeah.
So I think that's awesome that they're bringing it back. I'm gonna be rooting for you. Hopefully, I get a bracelet or a ring before then, and go there. The one thing that kind of sucks too for the live end, and you probably agree with us, man. I felt like. And I hope it starts coming back, man. But I felt like we were so spoiled in the Northeast, especially for circuit events. Like at one point, I think we had 3 in Atlantic City.
Yeah.
We had Baltimore, and we had Philly, Harrah's, Philly.
Right.
There was like 5 within an hour and a half of like wherever you were.
Yeah, we just got used to that.
And so it was awesome, like having those events. And in the beginning, like they had huge fields and they were great. And then just the last couple of years, I mean, I remember back in like maybe 2006, 2007 range. Like I remember going to Harrah's for the circuit events, and that whole room was sold out.
Oh yeah, it was packed.
Yeah.
And listen, if anyone remembers, please remind me and comment because the one tournament I played there, I remember specifically, dude. This is back in the early. This had to be like 06, 07. They started us off 11-handed.
And they started you with like 5K.
Do you remember the same?
I think I vaguely remember that. Yeah,
dude. And people were pissed, and they had no room, and they were just. It was like the first year of the circuit of Harrah's, and they like literally started 11-handed.
I think that makes sense. I think one year I went up to. This is years and years ago. I think I went up to Turning Stone, probably before I was 21 with some friends, and I think we played an 11-handed tournament there, also, and. At the time, we just kind of accepted it. We're like, this is weird and uncomfortable, but like, whatever. Like nowadays, like that would never
never.
fly. Oh
Well,
my
that's
God.
the thing. You get like.
You go past 9-handed, people are about to go.
Exactly,
revolt.
yeah.
But that back then you were just so excited that you were playing poker
Yeah.
in a casino for, you know what I mean? Like you were
Right.
like 11-handed,
Yeah.
whatever, I'll make it work.
Yeah.
That's funny. So obviously you've already said it. You prefer live compared to online.
I do, yeah. I'm more comfortable as a live player. I just enjoy it more. Like that's really what it comes down to. I just enjoy like being at a live poker table playing with real people.
Yeah.
And I think the pandemic has shown that too. Like, I mean, just some of the events that I've been playing, the turnouts have been really good. I know we don't have like the Brigadas, but I mean, we just saw. Were you down there for that?
I was, yeah.
Okay,
That was crazy. That
so
was a crazy scene.
if you guys don't know, Brigada just had their like first like opening event since like with the guarantee since the pandemic. It's been like literally 2 years
Well,
plus.
it was their first multi-day.
Yeah, but they haven't had a guarantee since before the pandemic.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's been over 2 years, and it went crazy. Go look it up online. Like it was. So wait, did you get in the tournament or what happened?
I got in at the very end of the early flight. Actually made day 2, but then didn't do anything. So
What? How long was the wait for you to get into that tournament?
not as long as some people actually, but I still waited. I believe about when did I get it? Yeah, probably about 3 hours. Yeah.
Is that the longest wait you've ever waited for a tournament? I'm assuming.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So I mean, like, here's the negative side. You had to wait 3 hours, but the good side of it is like people want to play. Like it's a good thing for the grinders such as yourself that like the fish are coming back. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good thing that it's still going to be populating. So obviously you're going to be playing Tournament Champions. Any other goals or anything going on this year that you're kind of looking forward to, or going to Vegas? Like, what's the game plan this year?
I mean, I'll be out for the World Series again. Nothing too specific as far as goals. Just want to have as much success as I can.
Are you going out for the entire series, or
Yeah, I'll be out there the whole thing.
What do you like Airbnb, or like what's your plan when you're out there? How do you go? You just get a room comped, or like
Yeah,
what do you do?
last year I did an Airbnb with a group of guys from around here. This year I'll probably go back to getting a hotel room. It makes a lot more sense being on the strip this
Yeah.
year with the driving and stuff.
Yeah,
and with like Caesar's properties, I can usually get pretty good deals on rooms. So
Yeah, I booked a flight. I'm going out the end of June into the beginning of July, like that July 4th, like before the main event. I'll be out there, and Brian's gonna be out there sometime in June as well. We're looking forward to it, man. I'm excited. I think the numbers are gonna be huge this year.
yeah, I think so too. That seems to be the consensus.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of depends on what's happening with like some of the European states and with Russia and things like that. Like, I don't know how much of the effect of inflowing traffic from some of those countries over there are going to affect, but I mean, I think there's a guy in our poker league that we have, and he's like, dude, I'm just, he just wants to go play the main event. Like, and he's like been waiting 2-3 years. Like, there's guys that have been like holding on to whatever, trying just to get out
he
there.
just wants to go donate to the main event.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, in your downtime, like where you're not playing live events or online events, do you play cash? Like, or do you prefer a certain like limit or?
Occasionally I play cash. Not as much recently anymore, but yeah, I play 2, 5, 5, 10, like whatever's available at Borgata or wherever I am. But yeah, I mean, I just don't enjoy cash as much as tournaments. I never really feel like there's like an end goal. Like, I just feel like I'm just kind of sitting there going through motions. Like,
Yeah. I think for me, it's like I don't know when to leave. Like, I'm just like,
Yeah.
when's like with the tournaments, like when the
right.
ball's
Yeah.
There's a very, structured goal. Like, when to play and when you're done playing.
It's definitely a whole other element. Where would you say your home base is? Because I know your name is like Parks Big Stack, so I know you're a big Parks guy.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I know you're also a big Brigada guy. So like, if you had to pick a home field, like where do you think it is?
I mean, I think it's always been Borgata, actually. Yeah, it's unfortunate that the tournament scene has, like, died down there a lot since the pandemic. And, well, when Parks, too, just hasn't had tournaments.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, so lately I've been playing at the Philly casinos, Philly Live and Rivers have been having actually some decent events. But, yeah, I mean, if I had to pick a home base,
Borgata.
Atlantic City, Borgata, yeah.
Now, you've primarily stayed like within the U.S. Have you traveled outside of the country to play in any like
No,
EPT or anything in Europe or?
no, I haven't. I'm not a big fan of traveling in general. I try to avoid it. That's why I like living like where I do. It's just like I can drive within an hour to like everywhere where I need to be. Sometimes go down to Maryland. Okay, that's 2 hours. But yeah, I just don't like traveling in general. Like I go to Vegas when I have to. That's about it.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I'd say that, like, dude, and I hope it rebounds, but, like, we were just, besides the circuit events, we were so spoiled up here.
yeah.
And I felt like it gave the Northeast players, like, an edge when we would go to Vegas, because, I mean, even if you look at it, like we talked about before, I think, like, you look at, like, Blumstein, McKeon, like a lot of the top-notch players in the last 5-6 years were from this area.
For sure, yeah.
Because you have top-notch competition, you have online, you have so many elements, like, every month there's a big guaranteed tournament. It's really difficult if the only thing you can play in is like $100 daily event compared to like a 3-day multi-event. Because a guy that's never played a multi-day event, it's a completely different world than playing 10 hours in just one day. Like, that whole like day 2, day 3, like that's a huge element. And if you're not used to that, like we had a huge advantage up here in the Northeast for a long time. And I really hope it kind of rebounds. And I think, I think it will, but but I
mean, I think the Borgata has already said like we're just starting to get back into the flow of things, and like we all know, like COVID impacted the workforce significantly. All the casinos have been dealing with like a dealer shortage. A lot of people left the casino industry once COVID hit for various reasons, and to some degree it's like we just gotta just kind of wait it out. I mean, it's going to come back.
They're having a 1K there next week, actually. That should be decent. So
yeah, I saw Darren Elias is hosting that event, and I think they were like, "Listen, we're going to do it 1K, up it a little bit, so we can kind of slim the field."
They want to thin the field. Exactly.
Yeah, let's thin the field a little bit. They're calling it the rebound tournament. Is what they're calling it. So I think it's kind of a play on like March Madness, but at the same time, and maybe they messed up so bad last month, they're like rebounding this month. I'm not sure. I had a couple fun questions. I think Brian did too.
Yeah, I had a couple.
Yeah, so we're gonna go through a couple like just random fun questions and
sure.
So you kind of hinted at it. I had like, what's your vice, and then earmuffs, kids out there like. Strippers, coke, like you already said like sports betting and things like that. Like, what's your bankroll buster? I would say.
Well, yeah, I mean, probably if I had to pick one thing, it would probably be gambling / sports betting, blackjack sports betting. Never got into drugs, so that's probably
a good thing. That's a good thing.
Strippers, sure,
No, look at this.
But not,
I would never have thought, judging the book by the cover and all.
Yeah.
Like,
but
nice.
not like,
Oh, no, it's all
crazy.
Right. You've been to Playhouse in Burlington? No? Yeah, maybe? Huh? Come on, you can tell us.
What'd you say?
He's from South. They have he's down there, man. He's not from up here.
He
doesn't know all the strip clubs
He's been
up here.
past Willingboro.
He doesn't know the strip clubs up here.
So with that being said, what's, if you don't mind telling us, what's the most amount of money you placed in one sports bet?
The biggest sports bet I've ever made was actually $25,000.
Holy shit.
But I did win that bet.
Oh, nice.
God.
And that was, what year was it? It was Clemson Notre Dame.
I can look it up.
In one of the college football playoffs.
Was that 2-3 years ago?
I think it was a little more than that, maybe, or around that time. I don't know. The Clemson destroyed them.
I don't know. I'll have to look. 2018. So that's probably the year.
Oh well, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
that you had like $500,000.
You won all that money.
Weird. Yeah, when I was when I was making larger bets in general. I've toned it down obviously since then, but yeah, that was good times.
I got one. Do you have any like so we're nerd enthusiasts. That's our brand. There's other guys that do different things like different collections, music, movies, like all. Do you have any nerdy hobbies? Anything like that's your nerd realm, like movies or offbeat, like toy collecting or comics?
So yeah, I guess it qualifies as a nerdy hobby. I like to play games. Well, I like games in general. Just board games of any. I mean, I'm a competitive person, so any kind of competition I enjoy. But so I play like these online games with a group chat, usually just on my phone, like at night. There's a whole bunch of people. A lot of them are in Vegas. Some of them are on the East Coast. And we play. So we used to play Werewolf a lot. I don't know
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm familiar.
So that's
You can play that live though too, right?
Yeah. So that
it's not just online.
and in Vegas, like, and when tournaments were like at Borgata and stuff, we would play a lot of it live. And then the pandemic hit, and we ended up playing it online, like in this little gamer chat, and that became like, it takes a lot of time, a lot of people, so that part of it kind of died out. But then we started playing this game called Chameleon. You can play with way fewer people, and the rounds are quick.
It's a card game, or is it a board game or a card game, or?
Well, I think it exists as a card game. In reality, I've never played it with cards. You can play it live, but you can also just play it like in a group chat. It's just a word association game.
Okay.
And the rounds are like 5 minutes long, and we have like 6 or 7 regulars that play like every night, all weird hours of the night because they're in Vegas and stuff. So it's kind of a good way to like decompress, especially after a poker tournament or whatever. You just go on there. And
Do you bet money on it, or is it just straight?
no,
Okay,
just playing. But it is extremely competitive, given that there's $0 involved. It actually gets very intense and creates a lot of arguments and stuff.
That's awesome.
So, like Anthony already said, like we obviously have other brands. Like going back to when you were a kid, because like again, you're not that much younger than us. Were you into WWF at the time, WWE, anything like that, wrestling?
No, I actually never really got into wrestling. No.
Okay, all right. So looking around the room, Anthony has a lot of like poker, casino related, movie posters. What would you consider is your favorite poker themed movie?
I mean, Rounders, obviously. That's, I think pretty standard. No other ones really come to mind off the bat. I'm sure there are plenty of other ones, but yeah, I mean, Rounders is classic.
Have you ever seen The Grand?
No, I've never seen.
No, dude.
Oh my goodness!
I feel like you would love.
You would love it. It's like a spoof on. I don't want to say the poker boom, but it's like a spoof comedy on poker. It's really really
it's
good.
It's shot like documentary style though, but it's like a fake documentary.
Okay.
That they do. Dude, and it's got a lot of big names. Came right, like you said, right after the boom. And it's based on the Grand, which is like the Golden Nugget version of the main event or whatever.
Okay.
And dude, yeah, if you got a night you want
check it out.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it's so corny, but like as a poker player, you'll appreciate it because anyone else watching, they're probably gonna be like, whatever, it's stupid. But as a poker player, you'll appreciate the lingo and everything going on that. But that one's pretty good for sure.
I just have one last question.
Yeah.
If you don't have anything else.
No, okay.
All right, so we did a segment. I would say maybe like 3 or 4 episodes back of like what we would have told our 21-year-old self if we had the opportunity to kind of hop in a time machine and go back. What's one thing you would have told yourself now, knowing all the knowledge you have with poker and life and so on and so forth, like kind of like words of wisdom to your 21-year-old self?
That's a good question. Yeah, it's funny because like I've always had conversations with friends. Like we wish we could go back and play against ourselves when we were 21, like because we were so bad back then. I mean, I guess like it's a pretty standard answer, but it's true. I mean, bankroll management.
Yeah.
Just make sure you like prepare for the downswings mentally and financially. Study the game. I think that's helped a lot with me in recent years. And it's also something I probably when I was 21 and started playing, I never really did a whole lot of studying. I was just like playing all the time.
Who do you use to study if you don't mind piggybacking off that? Or
So,
like what's your go-to right now that you're into or reading or watching or whatnot?
So I have a group of friends. I've mentioned them before, like my friend Frank Fernaro, and other guys in that group like Ryan Dodd, Stan Tanowski.
A lot of if
Chris
you don't know,
Basil,
they're some good online grinders. If you don't know, they're top notch right now. In
They're
New
also
Jersey.
most of them are local.
Local
Yeah,
guys, yeah. So I kind of fell in with them, and like we talk hands, and like we'll go over like someone's house and pull up someone's tournament run on WSOP, and like break down hands and like put in like they have Pio and all that and the charts, and they'll be like, we'll go around and be like, all right, what do we do here on this street, and then we'll check it with the solvers and stuff. And that's a thing like that's relatively new to me in the last few years. Like I said, I was never a big solver guy. I was never a big GTO guy. And with live, like you do have to take that stuff sometimes with a grain of salt. Like you have to adjust, and there's a lot more exploits involved, of course. But it's definitely like opened up my mind a lot and helped with my game, especially online too. So
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, especially like I know you're not a big guy playing a bunch of tables at once, but the solvers and stuff definitely help with that. You know, just trying to figure out those like situations you keep running into. And
Yeah,
stuff.
for sure.
But then, like, I think you being able to exploit people live is probably one of your better skills, I would assume, because you seem to like always be stacking up against spots that I'm like when I'm in the tournament, I'm like, damn, he stacked up again. So it's about like just exploiting where and. Online, I would see like, oh, you're gonna get a little bit of value out of this, but here it's like, dude, I can exploit this dude's whole stack right now.
You definitely have to like just know your opponents a lot and use that information kind of more so than like just the math and the charts and whatever. But having strong fundamentals is very important for live too, and I think that's always been an important part of my game as well. So,
word,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's it, man. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
We got a Slot Squad sponsor T-shirt, and I got Brian doesn't even have one yet. I got a Nerd Enthusiast.
Medium good.
Medium's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
And we got a Nerd Enthusiast sticker. They just came in too.
I
so
appreciate it. That's awesome. Thanks, guys.
Guys, thank you for hanging out with us. I hope you enjoyed the interview with Mike. If you get to see him, say what's up to him. He's a great guy. And I guarantee if you play in the Northeast, you've probably played against Michael Marder. So make sure to check out our sponsor, theslotsquad.com, and make sure you please follow us on all social media and our Patreon as well. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, guys.